Who is Death's Head? Let's talk about it. Yes? Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about a comic book character that might be obscure to most, but is a fan favorite to many, and that is Death's Head. Death's Head first appeared in issue 113 of the Transformers comic published by Marvel UK. That story written by Simon Furman and drawn by Jeff Sr. Rodimus Prime, desperate to stop Galvatron, puts a bounty on his head, which catches the attention of the mechanical bounty hunter Death's Head. Two things we know about Death's Head. One, he does not like to be called a bounty hunter. He prefers the term freelance peacekeeping agent. And two, Death's Head has a strange language quirk, where he ends many of his statements with a questioning yes? Death's Head interrogates Galvatron's minions, Cyclonus and Scourge, to learn his location, finding that Galvatron has traveled back in time, from the story's current time, 2007, back to 1987, the year in which the story was published. Traveling back to 1987, Death's Head is immediately discovered by Bumblebee. Not wanting anyone to know of his presence in that timeline, Death's Head quickly kills Bumblebee. But don't worry, Wreck-Gar comes across his remains and rebuilds him into his Throttlebot form of Goldbug. This story is the first of several appearances that Death's Head would make in the Transformers UK comic, where he was constantly switching sides depending on who was paying him. Because for Death's Head, business is business. After canceling the contract on Galvatron, Galvatron then returns the favor by putting a contract out on Rodimus. When Death's Head goes after Rodimus, the Autobot leader buys out the contract and then hires him to go after Scourge and Cyclonus. In Death's Head's last appearance in the Transformers UK comic, he winds up on the planet of Junk, where he falls under the thrall of the disembodied head of Unicron. After killing the Decepticon Shockwave, Death's Head regains control of himself and pushes himself, Scourge, and Cyclonus into a time vortex created by Unicron. And that's the last we see of Death's Head in the Transformers universe. Within that time vortex, Death's Head collides with a 1960s-era blue British police box. Of course, it is the TARDIS, which brings us to Death's Head's next appearance in Doctor Who magazine number 135, with the comic strip in that issue being written and drawn again by Furman and Sr. After Death's Head and the TARDIS crash land on a planet, Death's Head is prepared to kill the pilot of the TARDIS, of course, the Doctor, specifically the seventh incarnation, played by Sylvester McCoy. In that story, the Doctor tricks Death's Head not once, but twice, in an effort to save his life. First, the Doctor attempts to stop the giant Cybertronian-sized Death's Head by using a device he took from the Master, called the Tissue Compression Eliminator. Rather than destroy Death's Head, it merely shrinks him down to human size, something that Death's Head is not particularly fond of. The Doctor then tricks Death's Head onto the TARDIS, where he deposits him on the planet Earth in the year 8162. Death's Head would next appear in the 5th issue of Dragon's Claws, also created by Furman and Sr., a comic about a group of law enforcers in a dystopian future. After that appearance, Death's Head then spins off into his own solo comic book series, which was published in both the US and the UK. In that series, Death's Head partnered with a human named Sprat, and continued on as a freelance peacekeeping agent in the year 8162. In the 8th issue of his series, Death's Head is presented an opportunity to get revenge on the Doctor. But once again, things do not go as planned when dealing with the clever Time Lord. This time the Doctor tricks Death's Head once again, and deposits him in present-day New York City on the roof of the Baxter Building, the headquarters of the world-famous Fantastic Four. After a skirmish with the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards agrees to send Death's Head back to the year 8162 using Dr. Doom's time machine. But while the time transport is in process, Death's Head admits to Reed that he's going back to 8162 to continue his job of killing people. Horrified, Reed attempts to abort the time travel. While preventing him from going all the way back to 8162, the truncated process drops Death's Head into the year 2020, where he encounters and battles the Iron Man of 2020, Arno Stark, the descendant of Tony Stark. Bear in mind that story was published in the late 1980s, so at that time, 2020 was the future. Death's Head had several adventures encountering Marvel superheroes, which included meeting both the Hulk and She-Hulk, and once again meeting the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Foursome were investigating a time anomaly along with Thor and Iron Man when they encountered Death's Head, who at that time was in the employ of the TVA, sent to find out what the superheroes were doing in the time stream. And yes, that is the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, the temporal watchdog organization that played a major role in the Loki television series. In the year 2020, a scientist named Dr. Evelyn Necker, who was working for the scientific terrorist organization Advanced Idea Mechanics, aka AIM, created a cyborg called the Minion. The Minion was sent out into the time stream to kill a number of skilled individuals and assimilate their skills and instincts into itself. One of the individuals targeted was the mechanical bounty hunter Death's Head. After successfully killing Death's Head, Minion not only absorbed his instincts, but his entire personality. After an internal struggle, the Death's Head personality assimilated with Minion and started calling itself Death's Head 2. Death's Head 2 debuted in a 4-issue miniseries in 1992, and then starred in an ongoing series which lasted 16 issues. In 2014, Death's Head 2 appeared in the Marvel crossover event Revolutionary War. This crossover teamed many of Marvel's UK heroes, including Captain Britain, Pete Wisdom, and Union Jack. Even though the original Death's Head was seemingly killed to give way to Death's Head 2, it's hard to keep a good robot down, especially one that has a habit of time traveling. The original Death's Head reappeared in the Marvel Universe in 2009 in the series Sword. Sword being the organization that monitors extraterrestrial threats to the Earth. He also appeared with Iron Man in the 2013 story, The Secret Origin of Tony Stark, where he was inexplicably back to his original Cybertronian type size. The original Death's Head latest appearance was in 2019 in a 4-issue miniseries where he teamed up with members of the Young Avengers. Now let's get to the toys. This version of the original Death's Head was released in 2014. This was part of the Marvel Infinite series, the 1/18th scale Marvel figures that were done by Hasbro. He comes with 3 accessories, axe, mace, and he also has a shield which can store on his back. Really nice looking figure. He is fully articulated, but the articulation is a bit hampered by his costume. He's got this tunic which kind of limits the leg articulation, big shoulder pads up here, and then he's got the giant cape which is semi-rigid plastic. Really nice looking figure, just limited in the way you can pose him. But he does have some really nice sculpted detail as well as the paint applications. This is Marvel Legends Death's Head 2, part of the 6-inch 1/12 scale Marvel Legends line. This one was released in 2017. He was part of the wave of figures that was released to coincide with Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2. He does not have any accessories. The big biomechanical weapon there is built into his arm. Very limited as to paint applications, but Death's Head 2 was not as ornate as the original version. And I think from the design of the head there, you can kind of see what they were going for. It is very Predator-like in its design. So I don't know if the Predator inspired the design of Death's Head 2, but he was created in the 90s, so he does have that kind of extreme look about him. Would probably look right at home on an album cover for a metal band. Now we get to the latest version from Marvel Legends, the original Death's Head, as he was seen in his first appearance back in the Transformers UK comic. This was first released at San Diego Comic-Con. There was a little confusion at first as to whether or not this would be a Comic-Con exclusive. Turns out it was not. It was just first released there, and then it was put up for pre-order on all the usual toy websites. Although this figure is more expensive than a standard Marvel Legend. Retail on this is $40 as opposed to the usual Marvel Legends price of $25, $26. But just looking at the figure in the box, it does seem like there's a lot of new tooling in this figure. But first, let's talk about the package. This is one of the best looking packages for a Marvel Legends figure in a long time, at least a boxed figure. A lot of the retro card figures look good, but this is the first time I think they've done a retro box. And this box is designed specifically to look like this, which is the Death's Head card from the 1991 Marvel Universe Trading Card series. And Hasbro has done a really great job of recreating this card design as a figure box. You can see all the design elements are there from the front of the card, including the font for the title, and on the back as well. You can see he has all his stats there. The stats on the back of the trading cards worked kind of like the Transformers tech specs, giving you ratings for strength, speed, agility, stamina, durability, and intelligence. Unfortunately, it looks like they forgot to put those words in these red bars. So it's telling you a number on the different stats, but you don't know what the stat is on the back of the package. So that's the one oversight with this box, is they forgot to put these words into those boxes to tell you what they're actually rating. He does have his height and weight there. On the box, it is done in both standard and metric. And just like the card, it does list his first appearance as Dragon Claws number 5, which is incorrect. He first appeared in the Transformers UK comic. So I'm not sure why they can't put Transformers there. Maybe because it's a Hasbro trademark and not a Marvel trademark. I don't know. There's also a truncated version of the bio from the back of the card. Of course, the card is done all in English, but the bio on the box is done in 5 different languages, so they have to cut it down a bit. And they also recreate the little fun fact that's in the red box down there that says, "Did you know Death's Head actually owns a pet? Vulture." So except for missing the text in that power ranking area, this is a really nice box. Not sure if this is a tryout for maybe some future releases. It would be nice to see them do an entire series like this. I think it would make a really nice display for in-box collectors. On the rest of the box, we get the Death's Head comic logo on the top there. And we get a really nice piece of character art on the side, which is the same on both sides. This is a very big, beefy, nice-looking figure. Very nice sculpt. He's got a lot of detail on his mechanical parts, all the grooves that are sculpted in. He's got a lot of nice detail on the armor pieces, a lot of little scratches and pock marks in the sculpt. Really like his head sculpt, very comic accurate. He's got like those 2 big saber teeth on the bottom of his jaw that come up. Very menacing. I like what they did with the eyes. Paint apps are very clean for the most part. You can see a little bit of blue coming through on his belt because all these pieces were molded in this blue color and painted over. Not too bad though. He has a grip hand, an open hand, and 2 alternate fists. I would have liked to have seen another open hand so he could hold both his weapons like the 1/18th scale figure can. He has the mace and the axe, and he also has this missile type weapon. Being a robot, he can replace his hands with weapons. So this, plus the axe and the mace, all have those pegs at the end. So you can replace his hands with any of these weapons. Like so. His shield is relatively tiny compared to something like Captain America's shield, but it can peg on his back, just like in the smaller version. And also, It's got these 3 slots in it to store his 3 weapons, like so. That is a really nice feature. The Legends compared to the Infinite version. They both look really good. You do get more posability in the larger version because the armor pieces don't hinder it as much as the smaller version. The metal parts and weapons on the Universe version are very shiny, whereas the metal parts on the larger version are a bit more matte, and the weapons are not shiny at all. They're just a dark gray. But I think both versions look good. That's it for my look at Death's Head. Certainly a well-traveled character, going from the Transformers universe to the Doctor Who verse to the Marvel superhero universe, traveling across the pond from the UK to the US, as well as traveling through time. He is a versatile character that creators can have fun with, and who knows, maybe someday he'll wind up in the MCU. But until then, as always, thank you for your time and attention, and I will see you in the next video.